And now we are having a keynote on topic Fcmc Innovation Hub and Regulatory Sandbox, tools to scale fintech business, from Marina Krasovska, who is Financial Innovation Department Director at the Fcmc. Marina, the stage is yours.
Well, I'll be waiting until the presentation will appear, but maybe I will start. So Europe is a less developed region in terms of mobile payment penetrations and significantly lags from Asia Pacific and North America in terms of fintech lending. None of the big tech that currently dominated in a global fintech landscape is originated in Europe. But maybe one of you could become such a company using information technologies. Let's take this stage an example. I just quickly look. What does it really mean? How the innovations work? Imagine that this part of the stage is separated from that part of the stage by several centuries. Here, somewhere here, we have 1700s, first industrial revolution. Then we have 1800s, age of steam and railways. 40 years later, age of steel, electricity, engineering. 1900, age of oil, cars, mass production. Still trendy in some countries. Doesn't work. 60 years later, we had the age of ITC, and the most important one, that starting from the year 2000, we entered to so-called Industry 4.0. What does it mean for financial innovation? It means that banks have successfully adapted API technologies. It means that we've got plenty of apps, mobile apps, to manage personal finance. It means that blockchain revolutionarily accelerated cryptocurrencies. And now those investors are asking big companies to grant the loan. And the collateral should be provided crypto assets. We see the integration of artificial intelligence, big data, cloud analytics in a customer offering. Platform model business have fully changed the way how we invest and how we borrow money. In this way, we've got deposit platforms, lending platforms, investment platforms, P2P platforms, and all of this stuff is managed by robo-advisors, chatbots, and algorithms. So fintechs and banks using innovation technologies in order to create new products, in order to improve their internal processes like credit decision-making, risk management, and of course, internal control. As a result of this collaboration and development, we've got fintechs, regtech, subtech, insurtech, whatever tech. So what is tech? Tech is that without people. But this tech has destroyed perfectly regulated industries. So the progress of innovation was developed so fast and so successfully that it could not but affect the financial sector. And in result of this, humanity was managed to produce such number of laws. That is not all of them. Actually, the next would be more prudent. And what you see is only Latvian side of regulation of financial. If you are going to do something in a fintech area, please take into account. How many founders are here? Do you feel comfortable with all this stuff? How many lawyers are here? No one. So probably you would not be so comfortable with this stuff. But the most interesting thing is that what we've got here, impenetrable jungle, regulations, directives, laws, guidelines, rules, AML, The interesting thing is that there are some people that are a little bit unusual who feel absolutely comfortable with all this stuff. They found here beauty solution. They think that it is well structured. It is perfectly as a system. And if you haven't heard who are those people before, then please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Financial Capital and Market Commission. My name is Krasovska. I'm Director of Financial Innovation Department, and together with my team of those people who feel absolutely comfortable with all this stuff, helping Fintech to find the way and find the good path in those jungle of regulation on daily basis in Fcmc Innovation Hub. By the way, if you think it is all, I've just gave up doing this presentation in 700 something, and there were like 400 more. Before I will go deep dive into what is Innovation Hub and how it works, I would like to share just some very short personal story. That's how I looked 2 years ago. I was a co-founder in a fintech startup trying to figure out what would be the best applicable, efficient regulation for my chosen business model. And it's very typical when you are a startup that it means that there is a huge crowd of consultants, advisors around you, and each of them trying to give you the best results or best advice they even could. The more consultants you have, the more different opinions you will get regarding how your business model should look like. But actually, it doesn't care how much does it cost to you to change this business model from one to another. Changing the business model is expensive. It means changes in your IT systems, in your legal documents, it means changes in your legal architecture, in your customer experience. And no one lawyer will define you what should be your business model. They don't care. They are interested in your own money. In my case, the business model has been changed 6 times before it became a target operating model. Recently, we have conducted customer interviews in a Financial Capital Market Commission. We have interviewed the customers who are paced for the licensing process before, who are now under licensing, and who are planning to obtain the license from us. And the interesting stuff, we have discovered that more than 70% of companies that have been represented by founders and highest management, board members, told that they are not satisfied with the quality of paid external consultancy that they've got and they hired to prepare the documentation for the licensing. So external consultants perfectly may help. Sorry if you are a consultant, I'm just saying the customer voice. May help with the first level 1 document, but they have no the specific knowledge where other guys feel like a home. Here. So nobody, no any consultant in the world will tell you how your business model should look like. It is your decision. But jungle is jungle. And the jungle is perfectly known and best oriented by those who live in it. So the story of Innovation Hub started several years ago when European supervising authorities flagged that technologies make an impact and make a difference in the services and impact on customer protection, on service and the banking. And the result of this, the banking across the globe started to digitalize internal processes like KYC, like customer onboarding, like multi-channel, if someone remember what it is. Same time, that was a fantastic opportunity window that had been open to fintechs and new startups who were driven by idea to make the personal banking easier, smarter, simpler, affordable, and more user-friendly. Startups started to develop their services from scratch without any dependency from the legacy system, from the old infrastructure, but they were using cutting-edge technologies from the very beginning. As a result of this, we've got beautiful mobile apps, we've had robo-advisors, we've got a lot of different digital platforms that we're using daily across all the financial ecosystem. We've got N26, that recently, by the way, started to open accounts for Latvian residents. We've got Curve. We've got Revolut. Someone is using Revolut. I'm not State Revenue Service, you may be honest. Apple Pay. So the fintech have created so many new, absolutely different business models that supervision authorities understood that we need some kind of platform to oversee the developments in the financial sector, and from the other hand, to supervise the risks that are associated with those developments. A result of this, Fcmc Innovation Hub has been launched. Fcmc Innovation Hub is a part of European Forum of Facilitators, Innovation Facilitators. It was formed in 2019 with the idea to promote the facilitation and digital development within the European countries, to promote understanding with technologies, and another thing, to collaborate and to cooperate the work of different innovation hubs and regulatory sandboxes across the single European market. It was done to help the fintech to scale, because scalability is a part of any startup strategy, to use more with the same resources, to get more with the same resources, might get more profitability with more or less same team or more or less same infrastructure. And you need someone to help you to deal with all this stuff, exactly with the regulation, until your head is fully booked with meetings, marketing, fundraising, other operations. So Fcmc Innovation Hub is a place where fintechs and supervisors meet and sharing expertise and experiences in order to find what is the best regulative environment for your business model that have you chosen. It is a place where we discussing with the companies what are the regulations that could be applicable, that is important to know you before you go into the market. Fcmc innovation experts are part of European supervisory network, where they can share more and see even more than any of your consultants. They had different opinions, they had different views, they have more information regarding what kind of business model is applicable or not in this or that country. Just imagine for the second the outcome or price of fail. When your business is managed by wrong regulatory setup, your license could be annullated, you may lose passporting, you may stop operation, you might be banned. So nobody wanna be there, right? Besides the Innovation Hub, we have open regulatory sandbox. So regulatory sandbox is a special regulatory regime when any fintech can come and test the business model in terms of compliance. How big is the gap, compliance gap? So please do not confuse it with the software testing. We're not doing that. Please do not confuse it with the banking acceleration or business acceleration. It is not the top. But regulatory sandbox is for the companies who are planning to obtain the license and who are working with new innovative technologies, new innovative business models that is not covered by current regulation. That is quite important to get the opinion of regulatory before you go to the market. So regulatory sandbox is a perfect place for fintech to get the right opinion in the right time, when we can help to set up here. And it also helps us as the supervisors to understand more. So what are those barriers for the financial innovation? What we shall change? How we shall decrease or increase some kind of supervision activities. So my message today, it doesn't matter on which development stage you are. You have only one pager with business idea, or you have already in the market working with the customers, or you are in a process of fundraising, round A, round B, it doesn't matter. You need someone to help you to deal with the regulation until you are working with your business. And you can always ask Fcmc expert to support and get this absolutely free of charge. I know how it is to have a bad conversation with authorities. I know how it is to stuck in the jungle and pay money for the consultancy that doesn't work. And then you need to redo all this stuff. I know how it is to pay IT bills, and you still don't know when you will be on the market. So my message today is that if you are now in this situation, first of all, don't worry, because you are in a one table with roughly 70% of other fintechs. It means you are in a good company. And second, remember just one thing, that you know better than anyone else. Everything you do in your business, you do for your equity. So don't waste your time and money. And welcome to Innovation Hub. We're waiting to you. It is much more easy to contact us and to apply us for any help of a consultancy. Thank you.
Thank you, Marina. Okay, let's do an express survey. How many fintechs do we have here? At least one? Is that true? Okay, then my saying about that.
In the right auditorium?
Because I wanted to say that this is your chance to get the regulator on the stage and ask every question you have. Are there any questions from the audience? Anyone? Okay.
Thank you, Marina, for a great presentation. It's actually like a pitch from Fcmc. It's a great way to express. The question is, how did you change maybe the culture within Fcmc from being Fcmc into an advisor? Thank you.
Thank you. It's a very good question. Actually, I think it's a good opportunity to break the ice. Because a lot of people think that, first of all, Fcmc is supervising only the banks, but we are supervising more than 400 different market participants. And the second stereotype is that Fcmc is someone who is just cutting your fingers, and it's better not to come. And we are applying huge fines, sanctions, and actually it is our own primary business. But in reality, the culture inside the Fcmc is absolutely different. You can find a lot of open colleagues. And fintech development currently is one of the highest priority within Fcmc. So we are consulting on an everyday basis, deep consultancy, not just when you have just a call or just an email, but when we're sitting deeply and together with the customers drawing what would be the best applicable model. There were more than 40 consultancies deep with several times of the meeting with each customers. And I think it's just a stereotyping that we are just only applying fines. Yes, we do it in a situation when it's needed, but from the hand, we are ready to support you with any your idea, with any your stage, wherever you will be. So you may ask any questions from our supervisors, and the majority of the supervisors, they are also the person who makes those consultations. That gives them the opportunity to oversee what is happening in Europe, what is happening with our neighbors, and what is happening directly with your business.
Thank you. Is there any other question? Okay, then my question is, how does the average fintech look like, which is coming to Fcmc and trying to get a consultation?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say they're different persons. Some of them come from the fintech environment when they got already one company or one business that is already developed, and we can see the professional approach. But this is another group of the people who have an idea, but they don't know where to start and what kind of regulation is applicable or not. And actually, those are very young guys, I would say from the age of 27 to 37, something like that, who are coming with an idea, okay, so we want to do this and that, and sometimes, in a majority of cases, they could not even formulate exactly what they want to do. This is not the problem for them, but it is more ask us a little bit more resources to understand, okay, so what do you really want to go and do? Because sometimes they're missing or matching different situations. But actually, that's why the Innovation Hub is working, where we are together with those entrepreneurs sitting around the table, or digitally, how it was during all this year, providing the support in the equation.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other question from the audience? Okay, then I have one more. So you mentioned that you previously worked at a startup, at a fintech. So now you have joined the dark side, which is FCMC. And could you mention the things which you have brought to the FCMC with this experience you gained at your fintech?
Most probably it's a language how we're talking with our customers. It is important to get this, that we're sitting on one table. So the customers who is coming to Fcmc Innovation Hub, he shouldn't feel that he's coming like in state revenue service when everyone is sitting there and it is not optional to ask the wrong questions or right questions. Another thing is a culture of creativity and a culture of project-based management and agile in our IT work, because in financial innovation department also is responsible for the subtech development. We have realized more than 28 projects this year, and there are more than 20 to be completed by the end of the year, and we just took in this agile culture. Another thing that I bring is design thinking. Now we apply design thinking methodology into the customer experience in order to do our licensing process much more better. So those are elements that I bring with me.
Okay, thank you. Anyone? Like really? No questions? Okay, then I have one more. So what are the usual questions from the fintechs who are coming to FCMC asking questions about licenses or stuff? What are the main, frequently asked questions? Could you mention them?
I think the questions are quite different, but they're all about just tell me, do I need this license or not? Because no one will sit and read all the jungles that I showed today. We are not expecting that you, as an entrepreneur, must know everything and should be final oriented in the jungle. And the questions that we've got, so just tell me what I shall do and how shall I do, because they sometimes don't know. As the consultancies that they're hiring, not always works. I mean, 30% still works perfectly. Sometimes they got the wrong consultations and they come with a clear picture, like, okay, so I want to do this or that. But in reality, when you started to go deep into the problem or the business model, you understand that, hey, guys, you have been wrongly consulted. And then we will manage and understand that actually you can do it without any kind of license. You don't need license for that. Very typically, it's for the RegTechs who are developing RegTech solutions for AML, for fraud preventions, and they're coming to us like, okay, so what shall I do next? The major question for us is, okay, so we can support to understand and to share, to support you to understand how your IT solution, for example, works or not works, how you think about the cybersecurity risks, but you don't need any license. And then they're like a surprise, oh, that is several times happened this year.
Okay, in your presentation you mentioned that the Innovation Hub is running since year 2019. How is it going? Are there fintechs in there? And what are you doing to attract the fintechs to the Innovation Hub?
Where's it going? So actually Innovation Hub is a place where we meet fintechs with supervisors, and we are thinking regarding how to find the common view on the regulatory framework in order to understand the business model. And it comes with, this year it was digitally, previous years it was of course at our office when you can come together with your lawyer if you wish. And actually then we're designing not exactly the target operating model for the company, because it is company's responsibility, but we're designing, okay, so which regulation is applicable, this is that situation, how much will cost you this, and that, and what are the steps? I would say the majority of the questions in the Innovation Hub is, okay, now I know what I have to do, and I want to be very specific in my model, but what are the next steps? What are the documents that I have to prepare for the licensing? And they have disappeared for a month after that in order to prepare all this huge package. And after that time they are coming, and what we understood that we have created a little bit more, we started to work a little bit more, let's say in a different way, flexible. You can send us your documents before you're applying for the license, and we can give you the first reactions on that. So we can just evaluate and see this will fly, this will not fly, and what are the bugs and gaps in order to improve it, and then you can complete your document it is like a fast track that is working. This is also one of the topics that is discussed. Okay, so what are those documents that I have to complete? What are those documents to, and what are the final terms when I need to be quite straightly forward to the timetable?
Okay, any questions? Oh, welcome. So the first one.
Sorry, I had to jump off. But my question is, in all this regulation and all this legal stuff, usually there is like silent underlying assumption that regulators are right and everybody else is like coming to the big god of truth. But the question is how often you review your own kind of regulations about like seashells as payment method and so on. I'm pretty sure something there is about seashells there still. So how often you change your own and throw out the like separate wheat from chaff?
Yeah, thanks for the question. There are more than 30 working groups within all European Supervisor Single Market Authority who are working in a regulation, and each country, including Latvia, are presented in these working groups. Each working group is working on a different type of regulation. For example, currently one of the top, what is the highest priority, is a regulation for crowdfunding that probably you might be here, that has been approved a year ago, and starting from this year, it will be applicable to all market participants. So I personally was working in this European working group in order to make the regulation more specific, because I came from that environment and I know how the platforms work from the inside. And when the companies and when the new people come into the FCMC and they see the differences, because they came from the market exactly, they're bringing this knowledge to the table. And it actually really helps to navigate and to put new ideas into regulation. Of course, if we think like a huge directives, they are not like reviewed once per year. They're reviewed like once per 4 years or 3 years. But if we're talking about these regulations like crowdfunding, that I think that each second year we can accept that there will be changes. If we are talking about our local regulation that we are here adapting in Latvia and we are developing by ourselves, so it is quite easy to develop anything. I think it's a crucial role from the industry that should come and see, okay guys, we have here this and that problem. In this sense, we're cooperating with the associations, with the banking associations, with the payment association, now the crowdfunding association has been established, and they are presenting this voice of customers where, okay guys, this and that doesn't work. And currently, for example, we have one of the topic in our tables that concerning the opening accounts for the Fintech, where the associations have accounts with the Ministry of Finance, and we're together thinking, okay, what kind of activities we should do. And sometimes it is not necessarily real to change all the regulations, but maybe it is very more efficient when you have some local handbook or guideline. For example, the AML, if you will take the AML, it doesn't mean that everything that is written is applicable to your business model. Maybe exactly to you, in your situation, you need only 0.5, 3, and 7. And another 50 is not about your business. But our lawyers that are consulting those fintechs and the fintech-based cells, they think, okay, this is 200 pages that should be applicable to me somehow. That is better to ask what exactly. Same story is, for example, with cybersecurity, that is one of the hot topic. DORA, maybe you have heard this document on operational resilience that is on the page, and we're, again, together with colleagues sitting with a new regulation, together with European colleagues from other regulators, but we also see and understand that it would create a huge impact. And we are evaluating the risk. Shall we still keep it, or maybe it is too high? In that point of view, when the regulation on the table, and it is under development, it is easy to propose some changes, but you should do it taking into account with your association or someone who will have this voice of customer. In DORA type, we have several discussions, and if you will take, for example, our local rules that are applicable in IT security, not 100% that is written to applicable to your business model. It is only part of it. You have to clearly state it. That's why we are too many times are evaluating what is your business model. That's why today I'm too much talking about it, because actually it is a key issue, how you can, let's say, dance and navigate after it.
Thank you. And the last question was somewhere here. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask if these consultations are free of charge. That's my first question. I will have a follow-up if you say yes or no. Then.
Yes, absolutely free of charge.
Oh, okay, then I have no more questions.
Okay, then I'm gonna have a last question from my side. Could you describe the Latvian startup, not startup, but fintech ecosystem? How does it look? What are the majority of the fintechs here who are working here in Latvia?
Well, I would say that the majority of the fintech and fintech Latvian scale is quite fragmented. We haven't seen any kind of concentration with some kind of any area, but what we see some market players who have already succeeded in a Latvian market and are well known in an international environment. And probably majority of you are fully familiar with companies like Mintos, Twino, Norgeden that are quite successful in what they're doing. Same times we have areas that are less developed, for example, crypto assets, that is, by the way, also not real regulated right now, but the regulation of marketing crypto assets is still under development and it will be developed, and now currently we're working with it. There are companies who are working in the payment institutions, and we're welcoming all payment electronic money institutions to come to us for the licenses. But I would say roughly like 100, 120 companies currently are on the Latvian landscape, and I would say 20% of them are majority that makes 80% of the profit. And maybe one important thing here regarding the fintech landscape environment, maybe you heard, if you're not, that I will be very pleased to announce it to you, that at the end of this year we will have a Latvian national fintech strategy that currently is developed by a Ministry of Finance. I hope that it will bring much more clarity and much more prioritized how our Latvian fintech landscape should look like and what kind of developments we want to see and what would be our focuses. I think that would be the major milestone in this area.
Okay, thank you. Let's give a round of applause for Marina.
Thank you.